Ministry of Agriculture.
The Ministry of Agriculture appears knee-deep in the latest scandal in Kenya. The Senate is already probing the controversial maize payments to traders by National Cereals and Produce Board NCPB, and Cabinet Secretary Kiunjuri is fighting to keep his job. But it is this uncomfortable moment between the CS and his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, that has triggered more questions from observers.
I promise you and I swear before God, you try that again and you'll see what is going to happen to you.
He had reason to be frustrated. If I was the president, I personally have also agreeing with him. There is disappointment all over.
If the president is indeed as livid as he appears to be about the delay in paying genuine farmers, or the collusion that saw the crafty traders walk away with millions of shillings from NCPB, why hasn't he taken action to clean up the ministry? Why hasn't the CS stepped aside? Could there be more to the president's public reprimands of Kiunjuri than meets the eye? Professor Winnie Mitula, a political scientist at the University of Nairobi, thinks the president may be on a public relations overdrive in the maize scandal.
If this country was really having its values, Kiunjuri would have resigned by now. To be reprimanded by a president in public 3 times and you are still in office is in itself a problem. So, and on the other side, if you look at the side of the president, for the president to reprimand one officer 3 times in public is also a problem. There are 2 serious problematic stances that are more of now becoming a public image thing.
But Dr. Alex Awiti, a governance expert, reads more into the president's strategy.
Why that optic? What gallery is the president playing to? Is there something bigger than Kiunjuri in this? Is there someone that the president wants to get after and wants to use Kiunjuri to push that agenda? Okay? Is the president basically hiding his claws? Is Kiunjuri prosecuting a proxy war?
The proxy war yet again pointing to the slippery route that is the fight against mega corruption that the president initiated early in the year. Kiunjuri has passed the buck, linking the maize scam to his predecessor Willie Bett, whose entry into the cabinet was through Deputy President William Ruto.
Between October 2017 and February 2018, the National Cereals and Produce Board had paid 7 billion to farmers. That is allowed the time I was assuming office. This amount constitutes 86% of the funds transfers to the National Cereals and Produce Board. The big question is, who was paid the money? B, where did the ministry realize it had been paying traders and not the genuine farmers?
The genesis of it all is equally paramount. The drought season of 2016, coupled with a ruthless armyworm attack on maize farms, left the country short of 25% of the maize needed. In 2017, maize flour prices shot to 120 shillings per 2 kg packet, a situation that provided the opposition team NASA with potent ammunition to hammer the Jubilee administration on the eve of a general election. This prompted the then Cabinet Secretary Willie Bett to make a case for tax-free maize importation. Cabinet approved this, and Treasury went ahead to gazette a waiver on maize imports. But therein was the first challenge. No ceiling was set for the amount or type of maize that would be imported or who would import it. It became a free-for-all market. Newton Terer was the managing director of NCPB, and when the maize came into the country, it was bought by the board at 3,600 shillings per 50 kg bag and later sold to millers at 2,000 shillings per bag. Because this was an emergency, Treasury had already released the funds to buy this maize to the Ministry of Agriculture, who in turn disbursed it to NCPB, a ministry parastatal. It is now emerging that NCPB prioritized traders in these payments as opposed to genuine farmers who are already counting losses from the tough season. The man who was at the helm of this ministry at the time was Willie Bett. He has since been appointed Kenya's High Commissioner to India, and the president has demanded no answers from him.
This is National Cereals and Produce Board. This is Rift Valley. This has been the bastion of his political support over the last 2 election cycles. And this is Mr. Ruto's home turf. And there's been a bunch of other conversations and controversies around who the maize cartels are. So there's a political thing going on in there.
You structure a governance system and you appoint people and you assign them with clear lines of authority and tasks to do and responsibilities. If they are not doing those tasks and responsibilities, then you have to take charge and use the same process, the bureaucratic process, to apprehend them and even suspend them, dismiss them, and not come to complain to the public. We can't help. We cannot help the President.
President of the Republic.
Analyzing the president's governance style becomes even more complex when you compare him to his predecessors.
I have today accepted the request by Professor George Saitoti to step aside for his responsibilities as a Minister for Education, Science and Technology.
Every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he would call every minister to his chambers. And he would simply say, and now let me say what he used to say in Kiswahili, wabe yule mungwana wa barabara, aje hapa tueleze vile barabara zinaendelea katika nchi, watu wanafurahi au hawafurahi. And then every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I as Minister for Roads would go before Kibaki. And he would now say, last time you told us the following. Tell us now.
He has the constraints of a very delicate coalition, as he had constructed it. Former President Moi did not have that. He basically ran the shop and he was the boss. And he knew how to play the political game, where he would substitute one ethnic person with another one. You know, so if Mr. X is not up to scratch, then you get Mr. Y from the same community, almost from the same locality, and you keep checkmating your loyals. So I think it's a political style that Mr. Kenyatta has basically made his hallmark. One where he appears to be collegial, collaborative, non-confrontational, and not so much blood on the floor. That contrasts Mr. Kibaki's as well. We could see how he threw under the bus his very close ally.
The president's non-confrontation style is also viewed as his weakness. For instance, his former sports cabinet secretary Hassan Wario was given a soft landing as Kenya's envoy in Austria, despite corruption charges being leveled against him. He has had to return home to face graft charges last week.
You cannot be appointed an ambassador when you already have question marks. And these are the things that are undermining what the president is.
It is clear that President Kenyatta has kicked off his second term with a different tone. He is speaking strongly against corruption, even warning his inner circle. But critics question whether the president can truly crack the whip if he continues to blow hot and cold. Asham Wilu on special assignment.